Hello everyone, it's Carrie here. This is my analytical report for SDG3 Good Health and Well-being, and it's mainly focused on COVID-19 pandemic and relevant situations. This is the content page. I will present for the structure throughout my presentation. So firstly, it's SDG3 and Good Health and Well-being. It is mainly ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Here are all targets relevant with these goals. And the specific targets here have been selected is target 3.3 and 3.8. The main reasons behind is like the big surrounding is mainly caused by the COVID-19, which have killed more than millions of people around the world for more than 3 years. And the COVID-19 outbreak continues to infect the vulnerable groups of people such as the disabilities and homeless people. They got worse situations to overcome this COVID-19. So great challenge, the COVID-19 nature. It is a highly transmissible and pathogenic disease, and it can be found in bats. And they call light symptoms as fever, cough, and tiredness, and they call heavy symptoms like trouble breathing or even can't stay awake. So this is a COVID impact on globally. The visual graphic have been developed through 5 different perspectives: biological, social, environmental, financial, and political. You guys can have a further look due to the time limits. COVID impacts on Australia. I also analysis with 5 different perspectives as I indicated here, but I really want to point out the vulnerable situations at the social impacts, as the homeless people get in worse situation or suffer the most because they don't have a sheltered, stabilized places, and they got lesser medical supports compared to others. And this is a problem space. I will indicate more information throughout the further presentation. So the key stakeholders. From macro view to micro view, globally, nationally to individually, I just come up with different, relevant sectors, and you guys can have a further look. So the places with regulations. Globally, different national governments have been proposed different regulations and financial support funds to help with homeless people, as well as Australia. They got different states come up with different funds, financial support, and regulations to help the homeless people. And presidents. Second phrase, the first one, housing first model. It is a principle actually implementing globally since 1992, and they got really beneficial psychological impacts on the homeless people. And in Australia, like the state's government got the regulations for homeless people to enable them to stay in hotel, motel, or like student accommodation is basically reflect this principle. The second president, the Carrie Center, it's an architectural design, and the interior have been rearranged and redesigned in order to incorporate the social regulations like the social distance, and it allowed more homeless people to stay in house. The third president, Mask for Miles, it is a migrant art and organization rights charity activity for the homeless people in the UK. They kind of raise the funds based on the artistic and electrician design the creative and reversible, reusable masks, and then use the funds to provide the help meals for the homeless people in COVID-19 pandemic. I think it's really intrigued me because let me think the design is not only for the visual or the visual values, but also more for the ethical and social engagement. So the things from the future, the first one, does it closing hope? I kind of come up with this hoodie design as it got 3 different traits. The transparent film as a membrane, which is which is function as mask, and it won't interfere with breathing. And secondly, the environment friendly materials, they got heating and cooling materials inside the hoodie. And the third one is a double layered pocket. It is for disinfect the hands to deal with the hygienic and health situation for homeless people. And they got waterproof in the layer, and they got the bottom space for recycling. The second design, the health instrument and frustration. I come up with this medical instrument, a flute. It is foldable, and it can spread out and influence more people at the same time. It can cure disease or even strengthen the immune system. The spectacular bombs within the flute's barrel can balance the sound waves to influence the human body. The third design is the genetic buildings amusement. The exterior form, which is obviously inspired by the genetic chain of the virus. Because the chain structure, the spaces can be divided into 4 functions: medical assistance, accommodation, living area, and community cafe. And I want it to be an icon, like a representative of the new home for homeless people, especially under the COVID-19 pandemic. and you can see how people can really enjoy this spaces and evoke a sense of hope, belonging, and hope. This is bibliography. Thanks for listening.